Welcome artists to Monet Cafe Studio. In today's lesson, we're creating an expressive animal portrait in soft pastel using very affordable products, a sketchy painterly style, and simple techniques that you can follow. Let's jump in and paint together. Welcome artists to Monet Cafe Studio and this pastel painting tutorial that should be exciting to those who might be beginning this pastel painting journey. And one of the reasons is because it only uses two products, one set of pastels and one surface. And they're fairly affordable too. So I'm going to be sharing in this video how really easy it is to get started with pastels. And I'm also going to be sharing a subject matter that I don't paint a lot, but I love it. I love painting animals. I know I do a lot of landscapes, but I love cows. I had the blessing and pleasure of, when we were temporarily living in a home after our other home flooded, of being able to live next to a cow pasture, and I just fell in love. They became like my best friends. So this is one of those cows that I'll be sketching, and I'm going to be sharing not just about these products, but some of my sketching and painting techniques. I have a real sketchy technique with this one. I'm glad you've joined me for this pastel painting adventure, and let's get started. The surface I'm using is Pastelgrain. You may be familiar with a product called Pastel Matte. Well, this is by the same company, called Clairefontaine. It's slightly more textured than Pastel Matte. I'll be talking more about it as I paint. And this is a pad that has, I think, 4 colors in it. And I'm using kind of the mauve-y color on this one. I'll have all product links in the description of this video. Now, the pastels I used, you may be surprised that these are the pastels I used for the whole painting. I typically only use Prismacolor NuPastels to start a painting or for finishing marks. But I was so blown away and pleasantly surprised about how well they applied to this surface. Again, I'm going to talk about this as I'm painting. You'll be able to see my cow reference image while I'm painting. But if you're a patron of mine on my Patreon page, you're going to get a downloadable attachment of this reference image along with your other goodies. Here I'm just showing you my setup before I get started, and I want to share quickly that it's important for some of the techniques I'm going to share that your painting surface is proportionately the same size as your reference image, and my reference image is approximately 4 inches by 5 inches. So I'm going to demonstrate a really easy technique to do this, but I went ahead and made a graphic using AI. It got it a little bit off, so I'm going to show you in video how to do this. But basically, it's just a diagonal technique. If you want to make your painting larger than the reference, I mean, you could just do it 4 inches by 5 inches. That would be the same proportion, but we often want to make it larger. What we're going to do in section number 1 here is place our reference image at the top left corner of your painting surface. And we're going to identify the top left corner of your reference image and the bottom right corner. It's those yellow dots. And in section number 2, we're just going to get a straight edge and make a diagonal line right across, lining it up with those yellow dots. My AI image got it a little bit off. And then in image number 3, you can see we're going to make a little mark right where that straight edge or that line lands on your surface. And whatever is left over, you're going to just trim off that portion. And obviously, this works with anything that is larger than your reference image. Often we're not painting smaller than our reference image, but that's just an easy way to get equal proportions. To demonstrate, I grabbed my reference image. I've already sketched on that quite a bit to show you another drawing tip in a minute, but I just grabbed a piece of cardstock paper and I'm going to tape my reference image to it just so it doesn't wiggle around a lot. Again, putting it in the top left corner, just lining it up, and I'm simply going to tape it in place so it doesn't move around a lot. And I just need a straight edge, a ruler, and I'm going to line it up with the top left corner and the bottom right corner. Now here's something interesting. Because I just grabbed this cardstock, I did not know it is already proportionate. In other words, my reference image is 4 inches by 5 inches, and this painting surface or cardstock is an 8 by 10, 8 inches across and 10 inches tall. So see how it lands right in that bottom corner? That proves this green surface is the same proportion as my reference image. Again, I'm just showing here, this is an 8 by 10. So that is a perfect scenario. But again, I want to show you guys, if you don't have a surface that is exactly proportionate. So I wish I hadn't grabbed a black sheet of paper. It's hard to see on my black table here. But the same thing, I'm going to take and tape my reference image, do my diagonal line from the top left corner of the reference and the bottom right corner of the reference. I'll make a little mark, and you can actually just make the mark. You don't have to draw the line. Just mark it where the ruler meets the edge of the paper. And where it lands on the edge of the paper, that's what you're going to trim off. And I wish you could see it better here on the black surface, but my mark is about an inch. It leaves about an inch at the bottom of the black paper here. So I just measure the same amount on the other side, and I'm just going to make a straight line. Again, it's about an inch up from the bottom of the surface, and that's the part that I'm going to cut off. Now, my line was a little crooked. I took it over to my paper cutter actually and cut it off. So here I have now, we'll prove it, a proportionately sized surface or painting area that will match my 4 by 5 cow reference image. Here's the test. Look at that. It falls right on the corner. Therefore, it is the same proportion as my reference image. Isn't that easy? So this is important because we are going to be using the positive and negative shapes to sketch with. And if your proportions aren't equal, it won't work. So right now, ignore that painting on the right. That's your next tutorial. Right now, I'm just outlining with this pink pastel, NuPastel, just a little bit of an outline around the positive shape of the cow. So typically when we first start sketching or drawing, this is what we're looking at, the positive shape. But if you want to really get things accurate and make things easier on yourself with sketching, I'm going to show you how we can learn to see the negative shape or spaces around your image. And again, if your proportions of your reference image and your drawing surface or painting surface are the same, it's going to work. So let me talk about that. Now I'm shading in the negative space. You see that negative space has a shape. And again, if your reference and your surface are proportionately the same, the shape's going to be the same. So I'm showing you the positive shapes on the left side, the negative shape is on the right side here. And so I can now see if I'm outlining kind of around his ear and his little rump there, there you can see in the grass that negative shape. I'm just going to go up to the horizon line here. But when you can start seeing both of those, it sounds like it might be hard if you've never done it. It really gets super easy the more you do it. Also, another way to measure is to look kind of at the halfway point in your reference image, both vertically and horizontally. And those will be great guide marks to help you as you're sketching. Plus, it kind of gives you an idea of where the center of your reference image and painting surface are. I will also often look for or make a mark where it's about a quarter of the way down. And that just gave me a reference of where the backside of his rump is. It's about a quarter of the way down. And now I'm going to do the same thing with the negative space on the left side. I do keep calling this cow a he, but it is a she. It's a girl. So I outlined the positive shape, and now I'm shading in the negative shape. And you can see there is a shape to that. If you look at just what I've shaded, you can see it's definitely got its own unique shape. And that really helps you when you're sketching that positive outline or just getting in your basic outline for the cow. And I wanted to cover that first so you can try to actually see that as I'm sketching and painting. All right, here we go. So here you can see I have my painting surface, I have my reference image on the right, and I have the pastel colors that I actually used. They look a little brighter in this photo that I have here. They're not quite that bright. They're pretty bright, but you can see this color that I'm using here is the top row you see. It's the second one from the left, and it's just kind of a middle middle to dark value, pink magenta. From this point forward, I am going to speed up this tutorial, and the real-time, full content, full commentary version is over on my Patreon page, but you guys are still going to get a lot here on the Monet Cafe channel. And I thought I'd just show you a little sample of what it is like over on my Patreon page in case you've never visited. This is an example of my real-time tutorial that's actually on my Patreon page. They get their lesson ahead of time and have no commercials. And just so you know that they can watch it here, they can watch it on YouTube. I give a little description, I give the supplies, and I also have all of their extra goodies that they can view, and it's also attached so they can download. They get a copy of my actual painting. And the thing that I love too is the engagement. I get to hear from my patrons that become like friends of mine. We're like a family, and it's just so nice to be able to give feedback and engage like a family. And oh, I love to see your artwork when you're a patron of mine. Let me tell you real quick how to become a patron if you would like to. And there's a coupon code until the end of this month. Then I promise we're getting to this painting. So it's super easy. It's only $5 a month. Again, you become part of my beautiful family. I get to see your work. You get all of the extra goodies, and you unlock hundreds of lessons that are not on the YouTube channel. All right, let me tell you how to get that coupon code. I have a 60% off discount. This is the first month only. So, hey, it's just 60% off of $5, but every little bit helps, right? And if you use that coupon code and visit patreon.com/Susan Jenkins, you can take advantage of that until May 31st. All right, here we go. And again, just please like this video. It does help YouTube to share it more often. Well, please give me a thumbs up, comment, and all of that other good stuff. Okay, so as you can see, this is sped up, but I'd like to remind you that if you're on YouTube and you click the gear icon, you can always change the playback speed to be slower. So watch the video first for the commentary and then go back and slow it down if you'd like to follow along. All right, so you can see here, I am making little marks on my surface, once again, following along with my principle that I already taught about seeing these positive versus negative spaces, and also using the edge of my paper, my surface, as a guide to where I make my mark making. And I was really flattered. I already shared my Patreon version of this, and we have so many fantastic artists on my Patreon page. We have a lot of very newbie beginners too, though, so don't be shy if you're a beginner. But one of my patrons, Lori, if you're listening, is such a fantastic animal artist, and she commented that she did not use this method the way I shared. I think she mentioned she uses the grid method often, and that she was going to give this a try. So I really felt great that I was able to give any kind of information to such an amazing animal artist. But my point with even bringing that up is this works. And I think when we don't use a grid system and we measure more like this, our final painting ends up being much more painterly, lively, and expressive. That's one of the points of this lesson, is creating expressive portraits that feel artistic, fun, a bit whimsical perhaps. And I really do think this style and this method lends itself to that. So now you can see sometimes I'm just using the same little pink pastel for this whole sketch. You can see sometimes I'm using it on its side to get broader strokes, and sometimes I'm using it more as a drawing tool on its edge. Now I just shaded in areas, as you can see, the dark area at the bottom. His ears are dark. I keep saying his ears. It's actually a she. And I'm having to correct a little bit of the muzzle because I accidentally had my proportions off because my surface was a little wider proportionately. So that's why the muzzle on my cow looks a little bigger. So like I shared before, it really does help to have equal proportionate sizes with your reference image and your painting surface. All right, let's get some of this background in. I'm again using only Prismacolor NuPastels here. I'm letting you see my color notes here as I paint. And this is part of this lesson too about expressive animal portraits. When you limit yourself to a selected set of pastels like this, you are forced to use expressive color because you are working by value over color. So what I mean by that is I may not always have the right color exactly like is in the reference photo, but if the value is close, for example, some of those greens aren't really like those muted greens, but the value, the lightness or the darkness was right. So that's why this final painting ends up very vibrant, expressive, and fun, but still feels very realistic. Now, this shadow that I'm using on the left side of his face here, her face, I'm just using a pretty blue, and blues happen to work great for shadows anyway. But you can get so creative with color when you learn to paint by value over color. And keep in mind simple things like color temperature when it comes to things being in the shadow. Now I'm using a gray to get some of the parts of the cow face that wasn't so light, and I'm using this light yellow to really give that feeling of sunshine. Do you see how this is already starting to feel quite dimensional? Another part about expressive animal portraits or people portraits or even landscape painting is expressive and gestural mark making. I am, when I get to especially kind of the fur on her head, I start making really fun gestural marks, even down here on the muzzle a little bit. And I had me some nice little peachy colors and orange colors for the muzzle. And I'd also like to share, this is something I shared over on my Patreon version of this, that this wasn't a planned painting tutorial. Now, it happened to be within this month, where I'm using limited pastels, but I really just needed to paint. I almost didn't film this, but I just stuck my camera up and turned it on. But I had finished dinner and I just needed a moment to paint and enjoy. And grabbing one set, these Prismacolor NuPastels, they're very affordable. They're harder. I often use them to sketch with and paint with, but I don't typically do a full painting with them like this. So it was just a little moment I carved out for myself. I put on some relaxing, just gentle music, and enjoyed this process, which leads me to something else about expressive and painterly styles. Relax. Often we're trying too hard, and I know that's hard when you're a beginner, but it does get better the more you paint. All right, now let me share with you about these directional strokes. I am just basically making little marks, literally in the direction that the fur is going. And I did see a little bit of light on that one eye that's our left side, that was catching a little bit of light there. Another thing I'd like to mention, and this is something that I came to learn. I'm totally self-taught, guys. I learned everything I know pretty much on YouTube, or just from other little art forums. But my point is, learning to work the whole. Notice as I've been painting that I'm all over the place. I'll work a little bit on the muzzle, then I'll move to the eye, or I'll do the background. Sometimes that has to do with the fact that I have a particular color or value in my hand, and I just see where it can work somewhere else. Now that's convenient and efficient, but it also helps your painting to feel more connected, and all the values seem to really work, versus how I've seen artists do this. I'm always impressed at how they're able to do it. But versus starting in one little area. Have you ever seen that when people paint like from the ear and they work their way out until the painting's completed by one little section at a time? And I've seen it beautifully done, but typically for me, that doesn't work to be a real painterly style. And sometimes my values get a little out of sync. All right, so I'm moving along here. I decided to add a tail to my cow. It didn't show in the image. And I've studied these cows that live next to the other property that we own for a few years, like 4 years. And I've watched many of them grow up from little calves. And so that causes you to be able to understand the anatomy of these animals. So when it comes to adding a feature, it's a little easier. It's always better to see it though, rather than do it with your imagination. All right, I'm going to jump ahead just a little bit here for some of my finishing marks. I wanted to add more contrast, that dark pastel that I'm adding underneath his chin, her chin. And now I'm adding those fun little gestural marks for little hairs on the cow, and little directional strokes. There were little whiskers kind of coming out too. And look at the lashes. Look how easy it is. Those eyelashes of cows, if they have white eyelashes, really do catch the sun like that. So this was really a lot of fun. Like I said, this was just a relaxing, peaceful time for me. There's my little signature with my recently added little fish symbol to it. And here is the final. Guys, I hope you enjoyed this. And again, patrons, I'm so glad for all your feedback you've given me on this. I love that you've learned so much from it. Here you you can see the little remnants of, well, that's my whole pastel set. I have the 96 set, by the way, of the Prismacolor NuPastels, and that's the colors that I used along with the Pastelgrain surface. So this should be exciting to beginner artists that you really can get started with minimal supplies. I'll have all product links to these supplies in the description of this video, and I'd love to hear from you. Please leave a comment, subscribe if you haven't already, and as always, God bless and happy painting.